Welcome back to Just Chattin. And this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, Audie is still hibernating. He's fine, he's just snoozing. I expect he will get his lazy little kitty butt out of bed tomorrow, because the people who took down the trees in the front yard last week are coming, tentatively scheduled for tomorrow, to grind out the stumps. And that should be noisy. It should involve large pieces of equipment. And I think that is enough to convince a cat to haul his lazy little kitty butt out of bed so that he can watch and supervise from a safe distance. Meantime, maybe we'll see him, maybe we won't. It's winter, and he's just not interested in playing. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the intro, and we will be right back. So it looks like we have some very interesting news out of Montecito this week. So let's start off with Nutmeg. Netflix released the numbers on Nutmeg's With Love Meghan series, and they're not good. On the second half of 2025, so that would be July to December 2025, With Love Meghan ranked 1,224th in terms of watch time for Netflix. Meaning, obviously, that 1,223 shows outpaced it. Needless to say, it is not being renewed. The story out of the Sussex camp is that this took a lot of time for Nutmeg, and she wants to spend her time working on her as-ever brand. Just what can we say to make it sound like this wasn't the dismal failure we all know it was? I don't think anybody is surprised. I don't think any of us expected this was going to be a hit. I know I watched every grueling second of those, 8 episodes? I don't remember how many episodes it was. I've blocked it out of my mind just as a self-preservation mechanism. And I watched the horrendous Christmas special, and it was torture. It really was. I got to the point where I could watch it in 5-minute increments, and then I'd have to get up and do something else and force myself to go back and watch the rest. Yes, not good. So, fortunately for worldwide viewing public, this has been dumped in the trash. It doesn't look like it's coming back, even though Nutmeg's people are saying, well, maybe there will be holiday specials like Valentine's Day or 4th of July. It's like, yeah, right. Don't hold your breath, folks. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, Nutmeg releases a video, and this is like 2026 doing 2016, and she and the sock puppet are dancing, and the video is allegedly taken by the putative child Robet. Now, social media is all over this one, saying, no, 4-year-old children do not take videos. My own question about this is, since the video was apparently released in black and white, where did the color photos come from? Because there are color images from that video. So what was it? Was it black and white? Was it color? Why even make the change? The whole thing was weirdly performative. Obviously, Nutmeg and the sock puppet, who are not natural dancers, as I think we all know by now, are not going to just wander out into the back garden and put on a little performance. No. This was rehearsed, this was staged, this was choreographed, and Clearly, a small child did not take this. The fact is that everything they do is so curated. And I wouldn't be that kind. Left to my own devices, the words I would use are performative and staged. Everything is a performance with them. So, yeah. And given the fact that Louis, our little darling boss baby from the other side of the pond, recently took a really great photo of his mom, I think that's what prompted this. I think Nutmeg is just playing Me Too again to the hilt. You know, Catherine's child takes a photo of her, so Nutmeg's putative child has to one-up and take video of her and the sock puppet just because Nutmeg cannot be left in anybody's dust. Oh well. So, finally, we have another interesting story, and I don't think this is going to catch anyone off guard. It is reported that Nutmeg and the sock puppet are working on what I believe is just in the idea stages at this point, meaning it's not likely they're ever going to develop it beyond that, because they don't. They throw out ideas and then somebody else comes in and takes over. And the idea is to make a documentary about the life of Diana. What, like we don't know enough about this? Well, to be honest, my generation, we were adults when Diana emerged on the scene, because we really hadn't heard of her until, like 1980, give or take. We know all about Diana's life. We read about it in the magazines, books were written. Why anyone feels we would need another documentary about Diana is beyond me, but apparently they meaning Nutmeg and the sock puppet, want to tell the real story, which is to say Diana's life from their point of view, which naturally is that Diana has been reincarnated in the form of Nutmeg, and, Diana was a victim and the press murdered her, and whatever other insane theories are going on in the sock puppet's disturbed mind, and we will get into that in a moment. But the news story is that William is incensed about this. He does not want his mother rehashed over the coals. It's very likely that William, who is a little more objective about this than Harry, understands that dredging up Diana's memory only harms her reputation, because as long as they leave Diana alone, let her rest in peace, the myth of Diana is largely intact. But when you start pulling out Diana and every third word out of your mouth is Diana, people start to get sick of it, and people start to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm tired of you telling me what a saint your dead mummy was. That's not accurate. So yeah, I think William is probably in a better position because he's a little more objective than Harry, which isn't hard. I think William's in a better position to look at this and say, this is not doing Diana's legacy any good. And furthermore, I would say that the idea that Harry is going to tell his version of Diana's life, which is clearly that, Diana was a saint and Harry was her favorite child. We know that. We've heard the story from Harry already. It kind of ignores the fact that she was William's mother too. And let's not lose sight of the fact that Harry believes, and has said this is in spare, that he was very resentful of all of those people, not just in the UK, but throughout the world, but in particular the people in the UK who were crying over his dead mother as if they had known her and he resented it. They didn't have the right. She was his mummy, after all. So, yeah. I can only imagine that if the Diana Project comes to fruition, it's going to be a complete disaster. And I have no qualms at all about the idea that William is unhappy about it. If I were him, I would be unhappy too. Is that going to dissuade anyone from doing this? Oh, probably not. But we can count on their laziness just to ensure that Nutmeg and the sock puppet will not be the ones to see this through. They throw ideas out and other people come in and work on them from there. So, William, I don't think you have much to worry about. They're just spitballing ideas yet again. And then, changing from Nutmeg to the sock puppet, we have Harry and his court appearances. And I have to say that I think Harry is bonkers, to borrow his own word. I think his grip on reality is very frail and very weak to begin with. But after having read excerpts from the statements that he has given to the courts with regard to his lawsuit, remember he is suing the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. By the way, I'm just going to refer to them collectively as the Mail, but please just note that I am referring to two separate newspapers owned by the same company. So, suit against the Mail, he is making some statements that are over-the-top crazy, even for him. So, let's take a look at this. In a witness statement submitted to the court, Harry accused the publisher of having, quote, a campaign, an obsession of having every aspect of my life under surveillance so they could get the run on their competitors and drive me paranoid beyond belief, isolating me and probably wanting to drive me to drugs and drinking to sell more of their papers. That is just plain cuckoo. So, I don't know why that would have any place in a so-called witness statement, because that clearly is more of an impact statement. He didn't witness any of this. He alleges that he is a victim, and I just don't see any evidentiary benefit from a statement like this. I do not understand how the British courts work, but I can certainly tell you that in American courts, that would not be considered a witness statement. That is the kind of statement one makes after the conclusion of a trial when the court is considering punishment for a guilty offender or damages for a crime victim. But yeah, witness statement, I don't know. But what we have here is the sock puppet claiming the media made him paranoid beyond belief. Well, yeah, if this is where your thinking is at, there is no question that you are paranoid beyond belief. But linking that to the media is a whole separate ballgame. And I don't think anything in any of the excerpts I've read has made any link between his obvious state of paranoia and delusion and anything that the Mail may have done to him or even to people around him. So yeah, craziness. But also that they are intentionally working to drive him to alcohol and substance abuse. And that is basically what he said, that there was a concerted effort to drive him to drinking and drug use. I assume that is because he simply doesn't want to take responsibility for his own bad behavior. So yeah, It's like, yes, I drank. Yes, I did drugs, but the press made me do it. Remember, the same press that murdered his mother. Nuts. Now, the alleged wrongdoing that is being asserted in this lawsuit is supposed to have taken place between 1996 and 2014. Mind you, this is a rough time frame, but this is the time frame in question. So, in other parts of his statement, he talks about how the media made his wife's life a misery. I have a question about that too, given the fact that he allegedly had not even met her until sometime in 2016, well after these events allegedly took place. So what does that have to do with anything? And why would anybody even allow that into the court case? I don't know. Again, don't understand the British legal system. In the US, that would probably not be allowed. The main person of interest in the sock puppet's life, who was allegedly targeted by media dirty tricks during this period, was in fact Chelsea Davy. And Chelsea Davy is not a participant in this lawsuit. I wonder why. You think maybe she's just glad to be out of that blender of too much exposure, too little privacy, along with the sock puppet's bad behavior? I would say, yeah, odds are pretty good. Furthermore, I don't know very much about Chelsea Davy because she keeps a low profile, but she does seem to me, and this is from a very limited public exposure, to be a well-grounded, reasonably happy young woman who is probably just interested in getting on with her life and closing that chapter. It's no longer relevant for her. So in addition to this, we have a few other issues worth taking a look at. And I would have to say that given what I've read from the statement, I wonder if Harry's lawyers even bothered to proofread it before they handed it over to the court. If they read it and gave it to the courts, I could only assume they do not have his best interests at heart, because this statement makes him look like a raving freaking lunatic. If, in fact, they didn't read it, they're probably not doing their job. Or, also, I guess the third possibility is they've spent so much time with him that they've gotten sucked into his delusions and think all this is perfectly rational. No idea, but again, big questions in my mind. The fact is, Harry's position in this statement that he gave to the courts is that the information the Mail had about him and his activities must have come from illegal tactics, which I guess he considers to be evidence, because there's no other way they could have gotten it. Really? And no other way? The fact is that he had a fairly wide social circle. He lists in a statement only 10 people who he was close to at that point in his life. Maybe, maybe not. But then further says that because of the leaks, he was eliminating people from his social circle. He was forced to cut down his acquaintance to such a very small amount, victimized once again, because of the possibility of leaks. But here's the problem with that. On one hand, you have a statement, Harry saying this is the only way the information could have come out, through wiretapping, through email hacking, etc. Basically, illegal, dirty tricks by the media. This is the only way it could have happened. in the next breath saying, and I had to cut people out of my social circle because I suspected they might be the source of leaks. Well, you know what? If you're suspecting your friends might be responsible for the leaks, then obviously wiretapping and email hacking are not the only way this information could have gotten out. And if wiretapping and email hacking are the only possibilities, why would it have been necessary to cut people out of your life because you suspected there were leaks? Couldn't have happened that way. Had to be wiretapping. It's like it doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. But Harry does, in fact, seem very, very sure that his suspicions and his feelings constitute solid proof that he was victimized. And I would have to say, at this point, we have enough information on how this guy's mind works to safely say he really needs therapy. Like, really. And I know we throw that around sort of loosely. It's like, yeah, he's crazy. Yes, he needs a psychiatrist. No. This is a person who is clearly not well mentally. Now I got to look at that because I make videos making fun of him all the time, and I'm not comfortable making fun of someone who is mentally ill, even if I believe that they are a very, very bad human being. Still, if this is coming from a place of mental illness, then it's coming from a place of legitimate disability. And like I say, I got to look at that, and I got to stop calling him an idiot. I got to stop making fun of this guy because I'm starting to think he's moved into that protected category of someone who can't be held responsible for his actions. So this is what's going on in the court case. It's gone from bad to worse. So what are our takeaways? 1, Harry is not responsible for his drug and alcohol abuse because the media pushed him into it. 2, Harry is not responsible for any of these delusions that he is foisting upon the public because they have made him paranoid. They've driven him to a point of mental illness. I think the next question we have to be asking is, if he is in fact this mentally ill, why is he not getting help? Why is he acting on what he clearly believes himself to be mental illness? They made him paranoid. They made him paranoid beyond belief. Why is he acting on it? Why is he not voluntarily committing himself if he, in fact, has the wherewithal to recognize that the press has made him not functioning as he should, let's just say? Why is he continuing to act on it? Yeah, maybe he is just so far gone that he just cannot see the logic of this. But I would have to say that in the upcoming next few days or so, taking a look at what is going to come out of this guy's mouth is, if nothing else, going to be very, very interesting. So, that's what I have for you today. I hope to see you all next time. Thanks for being with us. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. And because I have raised Prince Louis, who is just, as I'm sure you know, my little darling, we're going to look at the little Cambridge kids on the way out. So, meanwhile, have a terrific day.